Toyota intro. Oh, I got it. Oh, baby, man. Like riding a bike.
Yeah. I'm bad at that too, though.
Yeah.
Just for the record.
Are you? I could see you being great at riding bikes.
I'm actually pretty good.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the DNBA show. Let's go. Let's go. Oh, my God. Live from the Toyota Lounge, driven by your Front Range Toyota stores. Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR.
Yeah, it is.
Been driving my Highlander around all over town. Been great. Guys, on today's show, we finally get to start our draft prep.
Finally.
In earnest.
Been waiting for this all year.
All year long, man. The draft is only 3 weeks away. Closer than you think. 3.5 weeks away. So
this is the most time I've had to prep, in 2 years.
In 2 years. So we're going to have to really get into it. We're going to start, though, by asking, should the Nuggets use the pick? I have a strong take. You guys will be surprised to know I have a strong opinion about what the Nuggets should do with their pick here. We're also going to talk about DaRon Holmes. I don't even know. This is my favorite thing, Vote. I never even know if I'm saying their names right.
Yeah, that's how you know we're locked in.
Locked in.
How else would you say that name?
DaRon? DaRon?
I guess there's some options.
There's some options.
DaRon?
DaRon, yeah, I don't know.
I guess there's some options.
We're also going to do our top 5 best finals of our lifetime, and later on in the show, the brightest timeline. How bright is it? Has it gotten dimmer? Is it still bright? And what does it look like? I actually had fun putting some thoughts down on this. It should make for a good discussion. I got the homies with me. Brendan Votes in the house.
Oh, the brightest timeline is getting you back in the Toyota Lounge, big fella.
Wait a second. What was that? Oh, that was a funny.
That's a new one. I didn't know we had that on the soundboard.
We got to use the soundboard more.
I know. There's probably so many things on there, right?
Yeah.
It sounded like a rubber chicken. Like a rubber chicken.
This is what happens when you get just like a slightly different producer.
Yeah.
Just like we just do completely different
I wonder
things.
what I'm going to get for my intro.
I can't. Let's wait and find out. Over there, Harrison Wind.
Nothing. Okay.
There it is.
All right, I'll take it. A little triangle.
That's a wind chime.
I'll take it.
It's a wind chime.
That is a wind chime. Yeah, I'll take it, Tiff. Thank you.
Great shows all last week. Really missed you guys. And it's good to be back and talking with you guys. I have a list of things you were wrong about, though, so I'm going to...
I would actually I would love that.
Taking notes the whole show. Like, hold on a second. No.
Vote cracked up laughing. I was dead serious.
Exactly.
I'm locked in. I'm like, give me the list.
Give me the list. Let's argue. Let's argue these things.
All right, let's start there.
The smells was incredible. That was incredible. No, but we're getting into the draft here. And, a week off the show, I'll be honest, last week thought about the Nuggets less than I have in probably 50 weeks or so. And, sometimes when you turn the brain off, it's working in background. And then
Sure.
So I kind of, as I'm getting back into it, I almost feel like, all right, refreshed in perspective. And one of my perspectives is I don't see a world in where the Nuggets come back with the same or more young players than they have now. And what that means is they have a draft pick this year. The idea of using that draft pick to me almost sounds crazy unless you unloaded some of your other young players. They already have Hunter Tyson. They already have Jalen Pickett. That's basically 2 draft picks this year because they didn't play. So they are basically draft picks. If you add a third one, Julian Strother's barely a player. 4 guys that you're all like in your rotation, this or that. Peyton Watson's barely outside that group. Do you guys see it this way where you look at it and you go, what's the point of having that many young players? That's like way too many.
I kind of see it the same way. You're a championship contender. You're trying to put together an adequate bench. Drafting another first-round pick, no matter how experienced he is, it's a tough sell for sure, just on the surface, just looking at trying to win a championship next season. It's a tough sell. They drafted 3 players last year who were some of the more experienced players in the entire draft. Only one of them really got a crack at playing.
Yeah.
And so you look at that, you look at who the coach of this team is and Michael Malone and just how he handles things throughout a season. Unless there's some total recalibration from him in terms of how he's going to approach the regular season, yeah, using this first-round draft pick, it looks tough to me. Like, absolutely.
I agree. And another way I look at it is that wouldn't even be abandoning the philosophy. You still have the pipeline.
Oh, you still have a huge
you got a
pipeline.
huge and you run the risk of clogging it for sure. And to me, just to stick with the metaphor,
Yeah, that was great, actually.
to me, if I think there are two things that I would like to see happen with this pick, and neither of them are a draft, and it would either be attach it to Zeke and move, which is easier said than done. I don't know what the return is, or maybe you move back, maybe you turn it into multiple picks, maybe you turn it into picks down the line. But I don't know.
More young guys.
Yeah, I was actually multiple picks. It's like, no, you know what? We have too many young guys. Let's get 2 second-rounders.
Later. No, in the future.
Okay,
In the
gotcha.
future. In the future. In the future.
I will say, to play devil's advocate, the best way that the Nuggets can add talent to their team in this double second apron era is through the draft. It's really their only way that they can grab a guy who, like, can
grab him.
get
He's gotta
better.
grab a guy.
Yeah, you know,
He's gotta
sometimes
grab
just
a
got to
guy.
grab a guy.
That's
You
what
can
the
do that in
Nuggets
the
do.
draft. Just
Yeah.
grab a guy there. They can grab a young player, have him develop into something.
Yeah.
No, the other option is going the minimum contract route. That's grabbing somebody who you already know what he is.
Right.
This is really the only way, and Calvin Booth's talked about this many times, the only way that a team in the Nuggets position financially can get a player that has the upside, you know, of like a Peyton Watson type.
But the NBA is not like college. You know, in college, that's the play. Well, it used to be. You know, back not in the one and done era. But I'm saying it used to be where you'd have upperclassmen, and then you get a pipeline because you don't play those guys till they're juniors anyway, and they have and this or that. The NBA doesn't quite work like that. You need depth. You only have so many roster spots. You need depth. You need to have a level of versatility. And I think one of Tim Conley's mistakes in roster construction in his tenure when he was in Denver was he always had too many unplayable guys. You can have one or two. Like, it actually, most rosters have one or two guys that it's like, you're not playing this year, you're there, you'll get a couple minutes here or there, but you're not part of the plan. But we have 13 guys, a 9-man rotation, and 4 guys who can, at the drop of a hat, be inserted and play these minutes. But you have playable guys. And when you've got to too many, well, that guy's out for the year, and that guy's a redshirt guy, and then this guy's Bol, and this guy, it's like, now you only have 12 guys total, and if there's injuries, you're down, you're already scraping the barrel. I just think Denver might be there, where you look at it and go, if you have that many guys, first of all, it cannibalizes itself. They can't all hit. Like, can next year Julian Strawther, Jalen Pickett, Hunter Tyson, and the draft pick this year all succeed in the same year?
No.
No way. There's not enough minutes for them all to.
No.
So that's why I say I just think we are already at a critical mass, and maybe the plan is to relieve yourself of a Zeke Naji and maybe a Strawther or a Tyson in some kind of trade to bring back some pieces. But anything short of that, if you're just not losing any piece but adding pieces, I think Denver will be oversaturated.
I agree.
Yeah. Also, this draft sucks. I've done some very preliminary draft work, and we're talking about DaRon Holmes, who's a pretty intriguing guy. But I'm just looking at the guys projected to be available in the 20s. It's not great, man. Like, this is a bad draft. And I'm even looking for, like, upperclassmen, older, more tested players, and there's just not a lot there to work with.
Yeah. You never know. And maybe during the draft, a team talks themselves into a guy falling and
Sure.
then that
Sure.
pick. Because I agree with you. It seems like the best thing the Nuggets can do is move the pick. Look, the best thing they do is move it for an impact player. I don't think that's happening. But if you could somehow move it for a future pick, to me, that would be great because the Nuggets need tradable assets, not just now, but in the future. And if you were able to pick one up, like, no matter how, I have no idea how good the 2029 draft is. But if you get a first-round pick somehow in that far away, that pick could be anything. People will talk themselves.
It's more valuable than whoever you draft.
So, like, the farther away a first-rounder is, the more valuable it is somehow.
It could even be a boat.
It could be anything. Yeah, exactly. So I think Denver can do that. And the last part, as I've been thinking, you know, the line from that presser that's really there's a lot of lines that stick out to me, but one of them that I've been chewing on a lot lately is the line about how this roster was built with a different CBA in mind. And I'm looking at what lessons can we learn from the teams that have succeeded this year. And I actually think the Celtics mirrored Denver in a lot, and that their top 5 is phenomenal, and they're not that deep. They have guys that have played and contributed, but they don't have that many guys. Like Peyton Pritchard, I like him okay. You know, like Cornette and some of the other guys they have, Hauser. These guys are okay, but are they really better than what Denver has? They reached a better level. They coalesced better. But I look at it and I go, I actually think Dallas has the formula that teams are going to need to copy going forward. A superstar cornerstone piece, Luka Doncic. A running mate superstar that fits very nicely. Denver has that. Jamal Murray wasn't that guy this year, but he is that guy in theory. The problem you run into is they have 4 contracts that are between about 11 and 18 million, whereas Denver, you have a max and then you have 2 other guys and then you're out of money. And I think that is a formula that Denver is going to have to arrive at. It does, not necessarily the money, but they have to arrive at superstar, supporter, and then 4 guys that are all kind of similar, good players, and that's your depth. And then you get 2 guys, one a rookie, in this case Lively, and you can even say Hardy, and then one a vet that you picked up on a cheap deal, this case Exum. But you could find one vet, you could find one rookie. When you start to say we're going to have 4 second-year players, that's going to be our impact, that's such a tough ask.
So what you're saying is they can't have this much money doled out to their starting 5.
In particular, I just think the Big 3 era might be over. Not for Denver. I'm saying in the NBA. I think it's going to be increasingly difficult to fill out a roster with the restrictions when 3 guys make a max.
Right. But I think that's the reason the Nuggets and Calvin Booth went this route.
Yeah.
You have this money locked into the starting 5. It's 5 incredible players. It's an incredible lineup. I kind of disagree. I don't think
You think they're more Celtics. They just got to find 3 guys.
I don't think it makes sense to pivot off of that at all, actually. I think Denver actually has a fine pathway in this new CBA era, but the young guys that they're bringing in have to develop and have to hit. That's the second part of it.
And then because I agree with you, and then you can even just start at the top. And then the starters just weren't good enough this last time out, and they just have to be better. But for the better part of their time together, they have looked like, at worst, the second best starting 5 in the league. And that's been enough. So I think they're closer to Jamal and Murray and 3-4 other guys than it feels right now. But to start with, Murray has to be better and Porter. And then I just think they're still looking for one more piece. And that is where you get to the place where Booth is saying maybe the young guys just need more seasoning. And that's not something fans want to hear after a loss always, and I understand that. But I think you can at least sort of trace the logic. I don't know if they, obviously Porter is overpaid in a vacuum, but this starting 5 is good enough.
Yeah.
And you go from there.
All right, let's take a break. On the other side, let's get into the scout. Let's talk about DaRon Holmes. Very interesting player with a lot of details. And you said that there's not a lot of players, though, that, multi-year guys. This is a guy that has a lot of Calvin Booth indicators.
Interesting.
Calvin Booth qualities.
Westera Credit Union, check these guys out. What is Westera Credit Union? They were founded in 1934 right here in Colorado. They've got 9 locations in the Denver metro area, and they're all about helping members financially prosper. Education is their thing. They were actually started by a group of 8 school teachers, so helping others is in their DNA. As a member, you see that come through in every interaction. It's all about their local community with these guys. They also just launched an awesome new product, Smart Money Checking. Meet the checking account designed to help you earn unheard of interest on smaller balances with other great perks. You can earn up to 6% annual percentage yield on your first $2,000 each month. As your balance grows, so does your potential to unlock additional great rates for higher balances. So if you like earning money by doing things you're already doing with your checking account, visit westeracu.com/smartmoney for more details. Membership eligibility required, insured by NCUA. Restrictions and conditions apply.
At Bet365, they don't do ordinary. They believe every sport should be epic. And right now, new customers can choose between 2 offers when they open an account at Bet365. Use the code DNVR365 to sign up. Deposit $10, get to choose between either. The bet and get offer, place a bet of $5 or more and get $150 in bonus bets. Or a first bet safety net offer, you can place a bet up to $1,000. And if your qualifying bet loses, you receive a matched refund and bonus bets. Obviously, the NBA Finals are coming up, but you can play Bet365 with any sport. I do not know anything about hockey. I have just been betting on the Edmonton. Dude, that's it. I've just been betting on the Oilers because that guy is awesome,
right? And
it's working out. Actually, it's been a nice week for me. Sorry.
I like the Oiler fans a lot.
Yeah, the Oiler fans are great. McDavid, man, what a talent. There's also the NBA early payout offer. So if you are betting on the finals, get your straight bets paid out and parlay sections marked as a winner when your team goes up by 20 points. If they're offering it, just keep your eyes peeled for that. You do have to be 21 or older and physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
I'm also a fan of Oilers as a name.
It's a good one.
It's just like so goofy. It's like the Nuggets, but somehow like goofier. All right, back here, DaRon Holmes, Dayton Flyer. We're not
DaRon Holmes.
DaRon Holmes. It could be
Hell yeah.
anything.
I don't know either. That's the thing.
We're not exactly sure of the pronunciation just yet. All right, Win, take it away. What do we got?
DaRon Holmes. Let's start just with the facts. A junior out of Dayton. He's 21 years old right now. He's going to be 22 by the time the season starts. So, an older prospect, an experienced prospect. He's a 3-year starter. He pretty much started at Dayton since he was a freshman through this last year when he was a junior.
And by the way, could have come out after his rookie season. Had like draft buzz there.
Yes.
Came back. And Dayton, I know, which I'm just giving some details here on this part. Dayton's a really good program. They were number one in the country. Obi Toppin comes from. They were number one during the pandemic shortened season, and they've been a good program. Like you don't think of them as a top program, but lately they have been. And he was a guy that turned down. Sometimes you think, oh, he's went to a small school. Was he not a top recruit? No, he was. He was a top high school recruit, but chose Dayton.
He was 4-star recruit out of Arizona. He went to Montverde in Florida. You know, one of the top ranked blue chip high schools for basketball. He turned down Dayton over offers from Arizona, Marquette, and Cal. He's the highest recruit in Dayton history. He's a 4-star. 6'10", 200 pounds, mainly played center this season at Dayton. Measured just under 6'9" without shoes, though, at the combine.
Oh, God.
With a
Under
7'1"
6'9"?
wingspan. Without shoes.
He's
So-
Aaron Gordon.
Here we
For
go again.
comparisons, he's slightly smaller than Zeke Naji. Slightly smaller.
It comes from Arizona. All right.
Cool.
I guess he's
I think
Minnesota.
that's
Where
where
the
the 30
comparisons might
seconds into
stop.
this.
Maybe.
I don't know. We'll get to. Well, I think you have one more.
His draft range right now, early 20s to early second round. So kind of in where the Nuggets are picking. The latest ESPN mock had him going 28th to the Nuggets. And ESPN reported that he canceled several workouts, raising strong suspicions that he secured a promise in the back half of the first round.
Back half. That's such a range.
15 to 30. 6'10", 200 pounds, like I said. Mostly a center this year, but you could definitely see him playing some 4 when you watch his tape. 3-year starter, hit on that. This last year, consensus second-team All-American. Atlantic 10 co-player of the year. Also Atlantic 10 defensive player of the year this last season, too. So he was Dayton's best player in the conference as well. Averaged 20.5 points, shot 54% from the floor, 38.5% from 3, 71% from the line, 8.5 rebounds, 2.6 assists, 2.1 blocks per game. He helped lead Dayton he helped lead them back to the tournament for the first time since the 2017 season. Got them a win in the tournament as well. We can get into his strengths and weaknesses, but my 2 comps for him, Bobby Portis and Nick Claxton.
Nick Claxton, huh?
Not exactly either one of those guys, but I saw shades of both watching the film.
Some of the ways, because like he's pretty good dunker. Maybe some of the ways he go up quick and extend kind
The
of guys.
body reminds me of Claxton.
Yeah, I could see a little bit
6'10",
of that.
220. Like, that's Nick Claxton.
Did you say wingspan on there? I might have missed it.
I don't know if I
7'1"
did.
wingspan there.
Yes. Measured under 6'9" without shoes with a 7'1" wingspan.
Okay. What were
It's very comparable to Zeke Naji, the measurements.
is Zeke Naji too small for a backup center role?
No.
I don't think so either. Like the height is not his problem necessarily. It does help you if you're taller. It's definitely a leg up,
Yeah.
but you can get away with that. Vote. You watch some clips here, so what do you think?
Well,
watching clips now.
yeah, no. Well, I just saw someone in the chat say that they hope his shooting translates. And as I thought about that in relation to Zeke, I kind of thought about how the Nuggets would use him.
Yeah.
Because Zeke's best skill was shooting, but then they just wanted him to roll. And Denver's bench and those guards have not had a ton of great role options over the years. So it's almost, I guess my first thought is it going to be like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole or whatever? So I am not going to pretend like I have a lot of insight on Holmes here, but I guess my biggest point of concern is how good is he as a roller, and how comfortable is he in that role, and would Denver use him that way? Because if it's just another like, okay, there are some tools and maybe he can shoot, but then they don't ask him to, I guess I always look at a backup center in Denver and I just filter it through Denver's inability to get anything out of these guys.
Right.
So it's not like, does this skill translate? It's just, will it shine at all off Denver's bench?
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
So I think a reason that Zeke Naji's shot went through a transformation that a lot of people might not know is like, Zeke Naji was not a 3-point shooter in college.
Right.
And we had heard like in practices, his shot, was pretty inconsistent, and like he was never a shooter. So they wanted it to get to a more like repeatable form that would make him more of a shooter in games. That obviously didn't go well. DaRon Holmes, I think, is more of like a pure shooter than Zeke Naji was in college, at least. He attempted 2.5 threes per game, shot 38.6% from three. His form looks like way more standard and way more like a shooter's form than Zeke Naji's did coming out of school.
The part about the rolls, so what I watched of him, you watch some of the clips and stuff online. The rolls to the rim, like he'd catch on the short roll, take a power dribble and go up, and seemed like he was pretty smooth with that. He was good at getting above the rim. I see you have a note here that he had 73 dunks this year, which was down from 89.
Still a lot, though.
It is still a lot. And that was one of my big questions for him was, how well can he play above the rim? Because when I was watching some of his finishes, and he shot well in the paint and around the rim, so like this was a strength of his. But one of the things I always wonder about big men, especially undersized big men, is it's harder to score at the rim in the NBA.
Yes.
There's athletes, there's giants, there's just like a lot more size. And so when guys are finishing below the rim on plays that should be above the rim, I just take note of it. Like Zeke Naji is one of these guys, right? Like we watch him and you go, yeah, there's a lack of ability just to elevate well above and throw it down. And he's a guy that I think has a more athleticism or more vertical athleticism than a Zeke Naji. He seems lighter on his feet. But that was one of the questions I had was, is he going to be a guy that's like dunking on Valanciunas? I'm not saying dunking on the great rim protectors, but Valanciunas, is he a guy that can catch with a half-step advantage and elevate over him quickly and finish? That's one of the things that I think would probably be a big deal for him.
Yeah. I mean, my takeaway from watching the film is he's an offensive-minded pick-and-pop big man. Like, pick and roll, pick and pop.
Yeah.
He's really good in those actions, and so there's like a lot of translatable stuff in that regard. Like, shooting and his ability to be a modern big man in that type of role, and then like his paint and post scoring and rebounding seem to be his biggest strengths.
I saw him hit a couple threes with a pivot off of his right foot, which is hard. Like, would catch the ball and pivot backwards and then shoot. That's a pretty hard thing to do. It's not pretty, so I don't. So there's that part of it, but it does to me indicate a little bit of body control, and he kind of demonstrates some good body control and things. Offensively, I could see it. I could also not see it though, and that's the thing about like when I talk about drafting a guy. If there's a guy that I'm like, yeah, man, this guy's so perfect, I love it, this or that. But he's a guy to me that I look at and I go, I would be intrigued if Denver didn't already have so many guys. I don't know if he has impressed me enough that Denver should add to their chest of young players.
Kind of how I feel as well. The biggest thing is to me is will he have any impact as a roller? Because I'm kind of past the hypothetical pick and pop off the bench stuff. Not that you can't ever go to it. It's
kind of
just
need it though.
I know, but they off the bench without Jokic, they never force a defense to collapse. They never get penetration. Like the defense never has to change what they're doing.
Right.
They just run pick and pops and they hope that the big hits a shot. Or Zeke Naji rolls and no one on the defense bats an eye. You know what I mean? And you just ends up being Jamal break someone down off the dribble and then beat the next layer of the defense too. So I am just hopeful that if there is someone taken in this role, there's someone that has any sort of gravity or impact when they roll to the rim. just to maybe open some things up beyond like, hopefully this pop hits.
Yeah.
If you're replacing Jokic, so if you're going to play backup center, so you're not going to play with Jokic very much. You're going to be a backup center. And especially if you're undersized, you probably have to be a switch everything guy. That's the strength. When Denver looked their best off the bench defensively this year, they were switch everything. But is he a switch everything guy, Wind?
I can't be sold that he is right now.
That's-
Maybe,
It's my biggest concern, I would
but
say.
I don't think you can say that with a guarantee. I mean, he put up some good block numbers in college. He averaged over 2 blocks per game every season or right around there. He's got a good block rate. I don't know if I see him as the rim protector type, though, and that is a little concerning to me. He's a good rebounder. Don't think he's like the most fluid athlete out there, just in terms of how he runs and changes direction and stuff. He seems like an offensive guy to me, and just some more stuff on his offense. Took a career high 83 3-pointers this year. I think his shot looks good. I like if you're able to get this guy at 28, that kind of seems like a coup for me in this draft. Like this guy seems like a great value for that spot in the draft.
That's actually how I would put this. I actually like him as a 28th pick, but I don't like Denver taking a 28. So you almost have to. I have to love him for me to think Denver's going to get him, and I'm just not sure I'm there.
Yeah. He shot 67% on 226 attempts at the rim. He's got good touch around the basket, good at rolling to the rim. Just looks like pretty comfortable rolling to the rim, popping out of screens. 6 post-ups per game. Got to the line a lot, actually, on those post-ups. And it seems like he likes to do a little bit of the dirty work as a rebounder. Like, likes to get on the glass. I said he blocked a lot of shots. He wants to get physical, but I don't know if he has the body to get physical in the NBA. So, yeah, he's an interesting guy.
I was thinking about Zeke. He looked so big in college. Like he looked like a big and was grabbing all these boards. And then you just get to the NBA and you're like, underwhelming physically in stature and size. So I always think about these guys getting to the next level, and especially in Denver for whatever reason, where the backup center is just not put in a position to succeed. What does it look like?
I do like that he came back. You can read too much into these things, but I like guys that seem to like basketball. Like the NBA's calling your Dave. You want to get there as quick as possible. Yeah. He had an opportunity to do it, sticking around, being a guy that kind of enjoyed that environment, growing as a player every year. And he's
also a guy that improved every year in college, like in a pretty linear way, which is always a good sign.
It's a great sign. And so there is something, and then when I was teasing about he fits some of the things Cal likes, we know Cal likes older players. We know, this type of growth and stuff. Like this one is a guy that I actually think Nuggets fans should circle as a potential pick there in the 28th pick. Because this one, he seems like a Cal guy to me for sure.
He'd be a great pick at 28.
Yeah.
If he slips to 28, like this would be a great pick. I mean, you're getting an experienced guy who's accomplished. We know the Nuggets like accomplished players coming from college. Jalen Pickett, second-team All-American.
Right.
DaRon Holmes has put up like numbers. He's played in big games. He's played well in big games. He's gotten better every season. It does seem like a Nuggets type of guy.
One other note I had on him, played for a very good coach. Played for Anthony Grant, who is a guy who coached VCU when they beat Duke all the way back in 2006.
Eric Maynor.
He coached Alabama. He coached as an assistant for the Oklahoma City Thunder, so he has NBA coaching experience, and then back down to Dayton. And he was the coach of the year, Naismith Coach of the Year in 2020. So he played for a good coach that, as another thing that I think is important, when you talk about the Cal boxes, like, okay, he played for a good program, good coach. I think that's important. And I also actually think it's meaningful. That's one thing. It's a Cal theory that I agree with. That's part of good pedigree.
Playing for a good coach.
Yeah, because I think there are college coaches that, maybe good recruiting or good this or that, but guys that were through the NBA, so they know what matters in the NBA.
Right. It's there's a difference between playing for Anthony Grant and John Calipari.
Correct. Yeah, for sure.
You're just getting a different experience as a player,
or even like a Boeheim or something like some of these older school guys. I'm just saying there's something to a guy that knows the NBA.
Totally.
Level and get you ready for those types of things. So I think there's something there. Lastly, if Denver were to take this guy, and that's the backup center, Maybe you have a DeAndre Jordan as well. He comes back on a vet minimum 1 year. What's it look like for him next year?
Pack a jacket, buddy.
You're going to Grand Rapids.
Going to Grand Rapids.
Get ready to speak Grand Rapids, buddy.
Pack a North Face.
I also think if the
new J Huff.
you're in the Calvin Booth
He's
seat.
spent the last 3 years in Ohio, so he's
That's true.
familiar with the terrain.
I think if you're drafting this guy because you want him to be the backup center, right? Like you're Calvin Booth and you're like, I want this guy to play.
Yeah.
I don't think you can give Malone a DeAndre Jordan.
Oh, if you give him this
you
guy,
gotta be very
and
careful. If you
DeAndre
give
Jordan,
him that and then spend the minimum slot on the center, Malone might just play the minimum guy. So
You can't take this guy as your backup center next year. You can't.
this guy, you think this guy's on the Hunter Tyson plan? It's like redshirt
the
year.
J Huff plan.
You need an option there where you know more of what you're getting. Absolutely. I just think that's the case.
Lastly, is he a Jalen Pickett guy? I don't think this matters. This shouldn't factor into their decision making. But if we are thinking that Jalen Pickett might be a guy that they're hoping is in that role,
In terms of he's a year away from potentially being on the fringes of the rotation.
I guess that answers my question. Then.
Look, man, I actually do think the Nuggets need somebody at backup center next year. I know we probably differ in that. I do think they need a Dario Saric. I do think they need somebody.
Yeah, but Dario Saric is not a backup center. He would play backup center.
Well, they need somebody playing backup five that can spell Nikola Jokic more than they have in the last couple of years.
And that is an Aaron Gordon.
Yeah,
So that he can-
That's definitely not Aaron Gordon.
I almost feel like that's what they need is an Aaron Gordon, so Aaron Gordon doesn't have to play backup center in the regular
Right.
season, which he didn't do in 2023. That's why it was such a shock at the playoffs. I almost feel like you're like, oh, that worked so well. We'll do it again all year long. No,
Well, I mean, throughout the year, I always it was a red flag every time I saw Aaron Gordon at backup center. But
Yeah.
I just think you need a reliable option there. 15 minutes, you just know what you're getting, and I don't think you can know what you're getting from DaRon Holmes next
would you be
season.
blown away if he was the guy though?
That they picked and
No,
that
I'm
they
saying-
went with that backup center?
Yeah, I'm saying, is there a chance?
No, because we know that I think Calvin Booth, and I think this is the way GMs think in the league, they don't care about backup center.
They just don't. Yeah,
I think GMs actually think backup center, if you're looking at a 10-man rotation or whatever, backup center is the least valuable spot in any team's
By
rotation.
the way, one notable exception here is Dallas, who went out and got another
Gafford,
one.
right?
And Luka then said explicitly, they finally got me my backup center.
Yeah, but there's a difference there.
I
and that
agree.
Luka
I agree.
specifically, it needs a lob threat at all
Yep,
times, so
I agree.
it's a little different.
I agree with that.
All right. Well, I think we all like this guy, and we would all love him at 28th. We're just not so sure the Nuggets need a 28th pick, especially because it seems like your best scenario is he's a redshirt-ish kind of guy. Maybe he's a
I
Strother,
would
has a
think-
Strother type of year.
Yeah, Strother type of impact.
500 minutes.
Yeah, get some plays called for him.
It gets, there you go.
Wow, interesting. Pick and pop for DaRon Holmes out of the timeout. All right.
I am intrigued by this guy.
I like him.
I'm less intrigued by the idea of the Nuggets having 6 guys
If
with
they're
less than
picking a
1,000
guy
minutes.
at 28 and they get DaRon Holmes, that's a home run, I feel like. In this draft,
Yeah, that's a Holmes run.
there you go.
Oh,
All right,
yeah.
Let's take a break. On the other side, we'll talk about the finals. I made a list of the best finals of my lifetime. We'll argue about it.
Cool.
We're here in the Toyota Lounge. You guys are hanging out in the Toyota chat. Toyota, it's the official vehicle of DNVR. And we love Toyota. Trucks have always been part of their DNA. For generations, Toyota has built durable legends designed for greatness and perfect for Colorado. They've got so many different options if you're looking for a car. Trucks, SUVs, they're bringing back the iconic 2024 Land Cruiser. They got the 2024 Tacoma. They offer 17 models with available all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive like the Epic 4Runner. They also offer more low and zero emission vehicles combined than any other automaker. They've got 16 different hybrid vehicles to choose from, like the iForce Max hybrid truck. Check out Toyota today if you're in the market for a car, truck, SUV, hybrid, whatever it might be. Toyota's got you covered. Visit your Front Range Toyota stores at a location near you. AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Corwin Toyota in Boulder, Group Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota is a proud partner of the Denver Nuggets. It's the official vehicle of DNVR. We're here in the Toyota Lounge. Nothing else to say.
I'm still trying to figure out how to get to any of these finals games so I can heckle in person. I was hoping to do that via my credential. Did not work out. Thank you, Denver Nuggets. I might just have to use Game Time. It's the best ticketing app for getting the best tickets, best prices, even at the last minute. Game Time makes getting NBA Finals tickets even easier, faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app will actually go down the closer it gets to tip-off. No, so I'm just hoping I might. Well, here's what I'm trying to say, guys. I'm gonna go home I'm gonna go to Boston for the finals, and I'm just gonna hang out on Game Time until I find a ticket. And you will hear me from the bleachers. I promise you that. In all seriousness, if you're trying to get to the NBA Finals or the bleachers, I can't say what I was about to say. If you're trying to get to the NBA Finals or any event, like some local stuff in Denver.
That's what I like about Game Time. It's how you find out what's going on.
Yeah, it's not just sports, man. Concerts, any kind of venue, any reason to get outside in the Denver summer that we all love so much. You
Zach
can
Bryan
do it
next week.
You can do it with Game
going?
Time. So go ahead and
Think
take the
about it.
guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code DNVR for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code DNVR for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price. Guaranteed.
Tiff, are you a Zach Bryan fan? Don't know who it is.
No.
Country singer.
Yeah,
Good
no.
though, man. It's good.
But
It's
the
fun.
older I get, the more I get into country.
Dude, I'm telling you, that's what happened.
Country
Creeps up
low-key
on
the
you.
best genre.
Wait,
it just
see-
is.
Man, I'm telling. I was down in Virginia on a farm for a week. It was unbelievable.
Oh,
I'm
nice.
telling you, man.
This show needs Dev. Where's Dev?
Back here, segment 3, DNVR Nuggets podcast, guys. It's time to do a top 5, a Bet365 Never
Let's do
Ordinary
it.
top 5, and we're looking at the finals. And I'm sitting here thinking about how good do we think this finals will be, Boston versus Dallas. Tell you, my colleague on All NBA show, Tim Legler, thinks it's going to be an all-timer.
Wow.
But here's a crazy stat, courtesy of one Bill Simmons. The Mavs are like, I don't remember on DraftKings or on Bet365 what it is, like plus 250 or something like that, or 230. If they were to win, they would have had, there's only 2 teams that have had longer odds than them that won a title. One was the 2019 Raptors, who Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson got hurt. That's why otherwise they probably wouldn't have. And the other one is the 2004 Pistons, who were 5-1 underdogs, and they ended up coming back to win. Wow. That number scares me. That's since the NBA-ABA merger. That's 50 years. They would be the second longest odds team to win if they were to win it. That's wild.
Isn't there something where no teams won the championship outside of a top 3 seed?
It's not
There's
no
top
team. It's
4,
not no
right?
team, but there's very, very few.
It's
you have to go
pretty
back
much
for
been
far.
impossible to win when you're
Yeah.
not a top 3 seed the last couple decades.
The
or
Kings
whatever.
Rockets did it. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
probably thinking like
As a
since.
five
it's
seed,
it's
though?
been a while.
Yeah.
But again, I think in today's NBA that matters a little bit
I
less.
think so too.
But what do you think? Is it going to be an all-timer?
It could be. It could be. If the Celtics lose, for sure. I think
If Tatum just like melts down in humiliating fashion, all-timer.
I think you have a fun thing here where it feels like it's Luka's star power versus this team, this complete team. But I actually think much like Jokic at his best, Luka's got something going right now where that Dallas team is bigger than the sum of their parts. Is that right? The expression?
Dallas is?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he's just got everyone so confident and playing at a high level that I think that talent discrepancy people are pointing at might not necessarily matter as much. And Luka is a transcendent talent. It was going to be in the finals at some point.
Yeah.
I was hoping later. It's now. That's a guy you always want to see play on that stage. And let's not kid ourselves, man. As much as the Celtics absolutely have cakewalked through these playoffs, they have. We don't need to pretend otherwise. They were also the best regular season team by a mile. They
Yeah.
are very, very, very good. They've been built largely the right way. I think there's a chance we see some really good basketball. I just hope I get the cherry on top I'm looking for.
Yeah, I'm excited. Should be a really good series. Should be really good. I'm excited to see if Boston chokes because there's a ton of pressure on them to get it done this year. And I'm excited to see Luka on this stage.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we've all been like Luka believers from day one, obviously. It was pretty apparent to anybody who was paying attention how good he was. But I feel like there's an opportunity for him to continue what's been a Jokic-like run
Yeah.
so far, and what I mean by that is even the biggest Luka detractors have come around. They've all circled the wagons.
Really?
That's what it feels like to me in a similar way.
Some of them think he's now the best player in the world.
In a similar way to how all the Jokic
Be
skeptics finally were resigned to the fact that he is that dude. And it feels like the same thing's happening with Luka.
But I think Luka will be an all-timer. Like, deserves to be, probably is currently already an all-timer. So
yeah.
part of me, here's what I think about a great series. Oftentimes, it's not just, was it close games or what have you? It's also, was there something at stake? And these two teams, or these two players, I should say, or these players on each side, they're a little early. You know what I mean? Like, Luka's legacy is not hinging on this series. It feels like an early one. Like, he'll have
agree.
more opportunities. Now, maybe he won't. You never know. You can never count your chickens before they hatch. Who knows? With Tatum, it's similar thing. Jaylen Brown, like these guys, even though they've been around for a while and he has 19 playoff series under his belt, which is insane for a guy 25. It still feels like there's more time ahead. That being said, I do feel like whoever gets the title this year is going to have just an upper hand in like going forward. You know, there is still this up for grabs. Like, who is the guy? Who is the maybe not best player? Because I don't think Tatum can take the best player title with one, but you can be the best winner of a generation. Like, some guys are just the best winner of a generation, and that's a thing that I think is up for grabs. And you start collecting them now, it matters.
The only thing Tatum hasn't done is win the title as far as the winning thing goes. And if he gets one now, it is still ahead of schedule despite how many chances he's gotten. I mean, most of these guys are 27, 28, you know, when it happens for them. I wouldn't think he's the best player in the world now, but like even people like me who love to do the bits and love to hate, if you win, man. And like we can't spend time talking about who they played or how easy it was. He has put his team in a position to be there. They have put themselves in a position to be there year after year, and now they have a chance to get it done. And if they do, I'll tip my cap.
All right, let's get into this list here. Number 5 for me, 2014 Spurs Heat. Now you guys might be thinking this was an ass whooping. 5 games. The Spurs in that series played so unbelievably perfect basketball.
Amazing.
It was honestly robotic. To me, it was still the platonic ideal of basketball that I've ever watched. And that's why, for me, it was number 5. Even though this finals wasn't good, I just remember watching it going like, no team has ever been more in sync than that.
Oh, yeah. And that was also like good versus evil, too.
It kind of was.
Spurs good, Heat evil.
Well, it was
Boris Diaw.
It was redemption too, man.
Yep.
Talk about again. We lost, and that team was stacked. Should we change? How do we change what if we all come back and we get better and we beat them? And this is the best example in basketball history, I
model
think.
for a certain team to follow.
Could be. I will say though, of that one, there were 4 that I really liked, and then you start to get down to like Lakers Celtics. There's that spoiler alert. I can't pick one where the Lakers won as one of my favorite finals ever. I just can't do it. So there's a lot of great, quote unquote, great finals where a team won that I hate, so they can't be on my list. Number 4, 2011 Mavs. Heat.
Another good versus evil.
This was an all-timer for Dirk. It was a little Elway-esque in that it was in the back half of his career. He'd already gone through so many trials and tribulations and all these things. It was cathartic. And then talk about big-time performances, man. That guy showed up in that final, really that whole run, but in that finals. I think that one was an all-timer.
Yeah. No, I've talked about this before. Dirk was like my first favorite player in the NBA. And I was so happy when he won that. Him sprinting back to the locker room after
Iconic
every
moment.
win. Yeah.
It's also one of the all-time trophies really won by one guy. I mean, the team was good, but one guy. And if you look at the supporting cast, even all the accolades and stuff, that was from years ago, like Jason Kidd and stuff, that just over the hill, right? We love that Jokic has won a title without all-star teammates or all-NBA teammates, and I know that doesn't quite fit the description, but this one felt spiritually similar.
Also a complete legacy-altering championship.
Yes.
Completely.
Yeah, people thought he was soft, man.
And people
Soft.
would still think he's that if they lost that finals.
He's now probably one of the more beloved. Like, very few people have anything bad to say about Dirk. You know?
Yeah. Number 3,
Great hair.
Great hair.
2013 Heat versus Spurs, 7-game series. The Heat should have lost. This was over. The ropes were out. The champagne, they had it ready to pop.
And then Greg Popovich subbed out Tim Duncan.
Ray Allen gets the shot in the corner
That was insane.
to help them win Game 6. This one, the reason this one's so high for me, obviously it had that insane finish, but I think there's this one and the next one that's on this list were the two that I think were at the highest level of play that I've ever watched. Both of these two teams were so incredibly good at their respective strengths, and they just were locked in. They just felt like, wow, clearly the two best teams, clearly at their apex, and it's going to come down to the wire, and it did.
Couldn't agree more. Still to this day, some of the very best basketball you can find anywhere ever.
Offense, defense, everything. LeBron at the height of his power. Boris Diaw at the height of his power.
I mean, I was so obsessed with LeBron, kind of the way we are with Jokic now. But to me, the weight of that moment, of those games, I have never felt possession to possession feel so heavy and dramatic as it did in that series.
Yeah.
Number 2, 2016 Cavs Warriors.
Yep.
This was the other one that I just thought the level of play was so insanely high that it was like when you were watching this, you were like, this is like two perfect teams competing against each other, just making insane shots. But the shot making in this one was crazy. The fact that it meant so much for LeBron and the Cavs and Cleveland and everything else, breaking the curse, breaking the Warriors' 73-win season, the 3-1 comeback. This was an all-timer with so many big moments. There was real hate. These two teams had like real beef with each other. It just was there was a clash between the Bay kind of having this mystique to it, Silicon Valley and cool and fun, and then Cleveland, So it just had everything. I thought this series was crazy.
I just saw a box score for the Game 7 of this series the other day. Do you remember Draymond Green's Game 7 in this series?
He had a bunch of threes, right?
Oh, more
32 points. He had 6 threes, 15 rebounds, 9 assists, 2 steals.
He was trying to
Played
make up for getting
47
suspended.
minutes.
Just turned into like Kawhi Leonard. It was insane.
It really is crazy, man.
I also think narratively, in a non-annoying way, this might be the juiciest one, that Cavs Warriors one from 16. Just in all the reasons you described, LeBron going back to Cleveland to get it, and so many people hated the Miami tenure. There was just so many, I thought, not obnoxious, like actually fun narratives involved in this one.
This was also a repeat. This is also a redemption of sorts, right? Because they have the year before and you fall to the Warriors, and this was a little bit of a can they get it back? It was a cool story. It was a good one. But number 1, was there any doubt? 2023 Nuggets Heat, the number 1 finals of all time. By far the best one I've ever watched.
If you don't like that, then you don't like Denver Nuggets basketball.
It's funny how that series was not that great. I mean, it was great for us. And
We were the only ones who enjoyed it.
Only ones.
but it wasn't that great of a
It was
series.
bad.
It certainly was not.
It was objectively bad.
We loved it. Every second
Except
of it.
for us.
Except for Jokic and Murray were so freaking unbelievable.
They were so good.
That was the apex of probably of their careers, to the level of play they were playing at to this point, at least. It was an all-timer, man. Obviously, one thing, when I said I had a list of things I disagreed with, one thing I did disagree with, and it wasn't from the panel, it was actually from Ryan Blackburn, our friend on the show, when he was talking about, I think that fans, as fans and maybe even analysts, you could look at the season and, you won one. You know how hard that is? Like, you should just be happy. Everything from here is gravy. And I think that's just, anybody that's played sports, that's not how it works, man.
Well, especially when you have the greatest player in the world for the last 4 years and somebody who should go down as a top 10 player ever.
If the Nuggets never
One championship?
If the Nuggets,
that's bad.
If the Nuggets never win another title, and in 10 years from now Jokic retires, I will remember all of the years fondly. This is not about that.
Right.
When it's over, you will be appreciative for all of the things you had. But if you're why we watch sports is you watch because you want to win.
Oh, it'll be a great run. It will be an amazing run, but it will be a disappointment.
And it resets every year. It resets every year. Like, I used to make fun of Warriors fans for being so miserable during arguably the greatest tenure any fan could have had. I get it now. The next season starts. You just want the next one. And I am, as the years go by, The title they did win will mean more and more and more to me and meant so much to me as it happens. As things stand on June 3rd, 2024, I'm more pissed about them losing this past year than I am happy they won.
So that's just how it works. So it's one thing to say that fans, like, part of why sports are great is because they make you feel insane emotions.
Yeah.
And I just think that that's normal and actually healthy, and that's why sports are so awesome. But I will say this. I'm glad the Nuggets got that finals. It was so dominant, and part of what I loved about that run was how definitive it was. Was there any question who the best team of 2023 was? No, it was the Nuggets.
Yeah.
They dominated everybody. But I wouldn't mind them going back to a finals and having a classic, a 6 or 7 game down to the wire, crazy. You thought they were done, but then they came back. I don't know if my heart can handle it.
Yeah.
And I know in the moment I'll be like just praying for a sweep. But I will say, when you make a list like this, it would be fun to be like, what was the best finals ever? That time the Nuggets beat the Sixers in 7, and it just was back and forth.
Wind, what if the Clippers come back? I know it was the bubble, but like, what if the Clippers come back was the title?
Oh my God.
Can you imagine? You beat the odds-on title favorite, you're down 3-1, you come back
crazy.
and you win. There would be nothing better.
Or even the Utah one is maybe even crazier, where it literally comes down to
I know.
a 3 at the buzzer that could
Torrey
swing
Craig
it.
layup.
A Torrey Craig layup to swing it all.
What was he doing?
What was he doing? All right, let's take a last break of the show. On the other side, the brightest timeline. Is it as bright as ever? Is it a little less bright? And what does it look like? What is the new updated brightest timeline?
Circle K. Stop by Circle K. Sign up for the Inner Circle Rewards program. It is a free membership. Super easy to use. All you have to do is hit that QR code right there on the screen. Or you can also go to circlek.com/inner-circle. Sign up with your phone number and I think your email. And then when you get to the pump, when you're filling up your gas, just type in your phone number. Boom, you're in. Good to go. You can enjoy member exclusive beverage deals right now. Inner Circle members like you can get any size Polar Pop or Froster for just 69 cents through September 3rd. So all summer long, 79 cents for non-members. You can find it in the app under Inner Circle and offers. You also get discounts on your gas with the Inner Circle Rewards program. It's not a huge amount. You're not getting dollars off per gallon, but
Adds up.
it makes a difference.
Adds up.
Makes a difference, absolutely. So super easy to download. Use that QR code right there on the screen. Go to circlek.com/inner-circle. Enter your email and phone number to be fully enrolled. After that, just type in your phone number. First 5 Polar Pops are free, and then they're 69 cents through September 3rd. Sign up today.
We went to Illegal Pete's last week, Kale, Eric, and I, after we gave this great read. We all got so hungry and we went. And Kale posted a picture. He said, burritos, buddy, and beer. Does it get better than this? And he cropped me out. It was just a picture of
He
Eric.
cropped you out?
And,
you weren't there?
And
You weren't there?
I was 3 inches
No
out
way.
of.
Can you find this tweet?
I was 3
on
inches
Kale's
out of frame.
timeline?
I was
Bring
3
this up.
inches out
No
of frame.
way. He cropped you out of
now,
that?
here's the real story. Apparently, I was up getting a beer. That sounds likely. But in my opinion.
Oh, so you weren't cropped out.
No, but in my opinion.
Why not take a photo
No,
with
still
you?
find the photo.
That's what I'm saying.
Still
Dude,
find
he
the
was
tweet
like,
from
hey,
Kale.
You could
vote's
wait 10
gone. Let's get a
seconds.
photo in real quick.
So,
Guys, quick.
I'm not going to say I learned anything new about how you guys feel about me, but I'm not going to say
Wow.
it felt great. Colorado
find it,
Springs,
Tim?
you can feel great,
This
though.
is messed up.
Because now you have a friend in the burrito business. Illegal Pete's Colorado Springs is open. Swing by and join the festivities with live music, endless margaritas. Kale tweets a lot, so good luck. And of course, all your favorite burrito fixings. Located in the heart of downtown Colorado
Wow,
Springs.
you were there. I had no idea.
3 inches out of frame, buddy.
This looks like him and D-Line just on
That's
a
what I
date.
thought
That's
it
what I'm
was.
saying,
I was
dude.
like, wow, Kale.
Would you
cool,
have any
man.
idea that there was a
Just
third
a
friend?
lunch between two
Two
friends
friends
here.
went to lunch together,
He even
man.
said
That's awesome.
buddy singular and the
Did he really?
He really did,
Singular?
man. Yeah.
He didn't even imply.
Yeah.
Tim, how would you feel about
Yeah.
this if
He
you win?
didn't even get the
I'd be
tagline
so
right.
sad.
You'd be pissed,
I'd be
right?
so sad.
Now-
Kale, what the heck?
Kale, I know I've bullied you a lot. Has Eric not also? I mean, come on. Anyway, listen, if you're in Colorado
Wow.
Springs,
I'm gonna
now-
have to bring this up on TDSP tomorrow.
you
Man,
can,
I'm
you
gonna
can
have to get
bring
to
your
the bottom of
buddies,
this.
plural, Illegal Pete's. It's your go-to spot for
Tough
burritos,
scene,
buddies,
man.
and beer.
Wow.
I like how D-Line's also gazing off
I
into
know.
the sunshine in that picture.
I know. There he is.
What did he say?
It's a rough image of him, he says.
I've all-
I thought you looked pretty good.
You look pensive, brother. You look thoughtful.
I also like the idea of him photobombing Eric for a picture mid burrito bite or something.
That's actually what happened. Yeah.
Ask him. All right. It's time, guys, to take a look at the updated brightest timeline. Let's go to the brightest timeline here.
The brightest timeline.
The brightest timeline was something we used to do. Vote and I, like Hot Box and Hot Takes, always asking what's the
Just
best
like it.
possible outcome for the Nuggets. Titles already happened, but now you've lost one. Has it? I'll start with you here, Vote. Is it less than what it could have been? Is it like is the brightest timeline slightly less bright now?
Of course. Of course.
Or is this the first time it's ever dimmed?
I think so. I think this was the first true dip. There are
I don't know, the
alternative.
Bull trade of
He was part of
2021.
No, he was Hot Box and Hot Takes. He was Hot Box.
That
He wasn't
dimmed it a
quite
bit.
the original Project Dynasty.
But yeah, it
RJ
is.
Hampton at
It
the
is.
two.
This is the biggest dent so far. And look, there are redeemable alternative timelines that are awfully bright. But as far as brightest, number one, I've said parody 95 times in the last 2 weeks. I wanted the Nuggets to ruin basketball. I wanted Jokic to do things no one had ever done. I wanted no doubt. I wanted haters balls just forever. That year we were right about everything, and it was the best feeling I've ever had. And I didn't want to be wrong ever again. You know what I mean?
Right.
So look, if you still believe in the Spurs timeline, it is a fact they never went back to back. But let's not kid ourselves. It felt on the table, and we wanted it, and we didn't get it. We didn't get it.
Yeah, the timeline is definitely a little dim because the back-to-back championships, especially when you look at
Who did
the
it?
two teams in the finals right now, it was right there for the taking.
Right there.
It was right there. And who knows if the Nuggets would have beat the Mavs if they had held that lead in Game 7.
I don't know if they would
I
have.
actually don't think they would have,
I
but
agree.
you never know.
I agree.
Would have liked to find out.
You obviously never know. And would they have beaten Boston? You don't know that either. But the back-to-back, it's so hard to do. But what hurts even more is it was right there, and
Yeah.
it was possible. It was possible.
It's definitely possible, and I agree. I don't know if anything about the true brightest legacy timeline changes, but it is one less
True.
championship. The Nuggets could have won that one, and every one they can still potentially
Yeah,
win.
exactly.
So inevitably, it does take one off. And also, I hate to say it, they lost to a freaking division rival again. There's something to giving it to Minnesota. That was a team you would own. We talked about part of the cool legacy was you had beaten everybody except for the Warriors that had beaten you. Well, now you owe a team again. Now you owe Minnesota a payback, right? They got you back. So there's this unchecked box. A box that was checked is no longer checked.
I am excited about that part, though.
What's that? Getting it back?
Yeah. Just look, the Wolves played that series like a team that lost to the Nuggets the year before.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I would like to see the Nuggets play the Wolves in the same
Do you know what
dynamic.
they played like? They played like the Hunter.
Oh, my God.
Shut up, man.
All right, I'll see you guys next week.
Please shut up.
Harrison, there's a lot of Hunter versus
Please shut
Hunted, man.
Break this down for us, Win.
I swear to God, I know Michael Malone, and I know
He's going to say it.
he's going to say that exact line
On Media Day.
on Media Day next year, and
and
I'm
it's
going to
gonna-
get
you're
up
gonna
and
groan.
I'm going to get up and walk out of the room.
You should groan. You should. Oh. People will be like, "You okay, Harrison?" But here's the thing. Silver linings now about the brightest timeline. I have to agree with my colleague Matt Moore. We were talking about this the other day after our show, after we did a show the other day. He was talking about, I think there was some hubris from the Nuggets org, from the players, from the ownership, and from the front office and coach. I think all of them had a little bit of arrogance about what they had done, what they had built, what they'd set up. And it's not that they shouldn't be confident. They had built a title, a champion, and they were bringing back, and they had it. They should have been confident. But maybe there was a little it's hard every year. There's no such thing as it's getting easier over time. What's the first million is the hardest. After that, it gets. No, it's no. Every single year you have to redo this. And there's one silver lining to me is, I hope this was the wake up call Jamal Murray needed. That we know that this was the last year we ever talk about this, and that 15 years from now we talk about. Remember how Murray used to not be the most conditioned, most
Right.
competitive, most focused athlete? That was a thing that arrived to him at a certain point. But once he got there, he became known for being the guy that was like a 82 game killer, 16 game killer. It's possible that this is exactly what Jamal needed to kind of be like, wow, this could all be taken from me. I thought I was unassailable. It could all be taken from me.
Yeah.
I can be better.
Yeah. Oh, it's very possible because there was a point in Nikola Jokic's career where him being a little out of shape, him not being able to hang with the likes of Anthony Davis and the likes of some of the other top centers in the NBA, there came a point where he looked in the mirror and he had enough. And, you know, famously that was in that season leading right into the bubble. And then, you know, the rest is really history with him. He got in shape. He started working out after every game, and he became an absolute beast.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I think Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray are very, very different people and have very different motivations in life and their careers. But I also think there's probably some crossover there still, even though they are different. And so, look, it definitely is on the table for Jamal Murray to have, you know, an awakening, if you will, a similar one to the one Nikola Jokic had when he kept getting abused by Anthony Davis in 2020.
It's a great point, like with the Edwards dynamic of him bringing the ball up, and I really like that.
2019, maybe that was.
And Murray's 27, man, and that's look, he's not young. He's a vet on this team now. He's not old, man. He's 27. There's room for growth. It is very conceivable that a player comes back at this age, learns some lessons, and grows. And that's really the basis of these criticisms is like, hey, it wasn't all done after the title. Like your career, this journey. And there's room for growth for everyone. And you just got to come back and keep doing it. If you want, you know, all the things that he and the team have listed as goals and attainable goals, there's not a lot of room for error when you want to be the best of the best. And there's probably always more growth that you can find within as an athlete. It's what's so impressive about the very best players to ever do it in their sports, the lists of them, you know, however you feel about LeBron or a guy like Tom Brady in football, they just kept coming back. And they're like, all right, well, we start over now. How do I get even better? What wasn't good enough last time? I don't have that in me, but I think Jamal wants to and could. So it's very easy for me to say this from the couch, but that's what needs to happen.
And it's not even just the coming up short, man. I always go back to that Anthony Edwards when he was asked about catching Jamal Murray, and he was offended by that question. Like, I just hope Murray looks at that and goes, oh, these guys think of me that way, you know, and changes it up. And if you got the best version of Murray and the best version of Jokic just every game forever going forward, like, it would be different. We've never seen that. We've never seen the consistency outside the playoffs. We've never seen the consistency of that from Jamal, and it would be great to have it. But you know what? I think Jokic has a little of this too. Jokic is a near perfect player, but he's not perfect. And there are a few things that he, I think, can add. And one thing I wonder about Jokic, he wins the title, very nonchalant. I think he genuinely loved it. But I always wonder if players, what they feel. Do they feel satisfaction? And sometimes I wonder if it was like Jokic, I think, feels satisfaction for that win. I think he's downplaying it a lot. But I also wonder if, like, feeling this year's pain is like something that it was like, oh, that's right. Like, you almost need the bitterness. You just had something sweet followed by something bitterness,
right.
And you're like, oh man, now I actually I'm jonesing for the sweet more than even before. Yeah. I think it's possible with Jokic that it's like, if they bounce back and win next year, that he's significantly less nonchalant when they win it. That it's actually a lot more expressive because it will mean more. It would feel stronger.
Yeah. Well, I also wonder if he thought it'd be as easy as it was the first time.
You think?
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, they went 16-4. They did not play an elimination game in that first run.
Yeah.
I actually do wonder if the entire returning team thought it was going to be a little easier than it was.
That's what I mean about the arrogance, right?
Yep.
And it was Matt Moore's point, so I want to give him credit. But I think there was a little bit of that there of like, oh, now we know what it takes. It's like, man.
Can I tell you my favorite quote from the postseason, though, was Jokic saying, I remember when we were a losing team, and I don't want to go back to that. And there are levels to that mentality.
Yep.
Not just a losing team, but how about just losing in the playoffs, in Game 7? Are you okay with that? Do you want to live that feeling out again? I don't think Jamal Murray does. I don't think Nikola Jokic does. But that's, go out and prove it now.
And lastly, I'll end on this. Vic Lombardi told a story on his radio show a couple weeks back where he was wearing that shirt that said something like Nikola Jokic is the best player in the world. And he was telling a story about how he bumped into Jokic in the elevator at Ball Arena while wearing that shirt. And Jokic commented on it saying, hey, buddy, that shirt's too tight for you, because it was like a medium, like too small for Vic, and teasing him. And then as he walks out, he turns and he goes, but it's not wrong. And I remember thinking, like, Jokic never acknowledges these things.
Yeah.
He never does. But secretly he feels it. But guess what? Most people have moved on from Jokic as the best player in the NBA.
Yeah.
And I just think that there's probably a level to him, or I hope there's a level to him that goes, damn, it's like that, huh?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, it is like that.
It
you
is
have
like
to
that.
win, and that's the only way to ever get to wear the crown. You
kind of
can't win it
exciting.
on paper. You can't win it on anything else. And
Man,
if
I
you
can't wait for the season to
I
start.
know.
What is that, like a couple weeks?
hit that outro music there. Let's
Can't
get out
wait.
of there. Shouts to super producer Tiff for filling in for Kale today. Fellas, it's good to be back.
Good show.
Thanks for lounging with us. Everybody, let us know in the comments what you think about DaRon Holmes. Should the Nuggets take him? Should they play him?
DaRon Holmes.
DaRon, whatever you want to say.
Tell us how
We'll-
to say it even. That would be great.
We'll learn eventually how it's pronounced. Everybody, thanks for hanging. We'll see you tomorrow.